intro.
Hey everyone, we are live. That was Granicus Living in Darkness off their Better Days album.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, guys. Not only do we have an accomplished author on the show tonight, but we actually have the lead singer of that band as well.
It's a double header.
So you want to go ahead and introduce our guest?
Oh, no, I thought you were getting ready to. I'm sorry. This is Gary Schultz, or is Jerry? I'm sorry.
It is Jerry.
That's what I thought. He is the author of Cincinnati's Basketball Royalty.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you for coming on.
Oh,
Yes,
my
thank
pleasure.
So, let me ask you this real quick. We played some of your music. Give me some of your musical influences.
Well, I grew up in the 70s, and growing up in the Cleveland area, there was a lot of blue-collar hard rock that was very popular around here. So, we got into Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, which I think a lot of groups in our part of the country were very popular. I was a big Aerosmith fan. Bad Company is a group that we liked a lot. We were Rush fans very early in their history because that group, was one of a number of groups that got started in Cleveland. So there were a lot of groups back then in that time frame for us to get into.
I seen where you guys the band formed in 1969, and they kind of like broke up in 73 until they found out their one of the records was actually doing really well overseas.
Yeah, that's
what was it
an
like stepping
interesting
into
story
a
for
role
Granicus.
like
Yeah. The band it got started in the late 60s with the drummer and the guitar player, Al Pinnell, who actually wrote the majority of the music for all three Granicus albums. Al, a very talented guy, the guitar player, and was really kind of the rock of where the music came from. And Joe Battaglia was the drummer, and he's still kind of the guy who's running the project these days. And the two of them sort of started the group between them and added other players. And they, in the early 70s, there were quite a few opportunities in the music industry because the playing field, was quite a bit different. It wasn't nearly as crowded. And I don't think it was very well managed. And so they were just looking for groups that had some following and some energy. And they were looking at some of the other groups in the business back then, like Led Zeppelin, as sort of a template to match other groups against. And Granicus was very similar to Granicus, to Led Zeppelin and like first album Rush and groups of that nature. So they got signed to RCA Records in 1973.
Wow.
That's awesome. I okay. So I got a question for you, Jerry.
Hmm.
From going to being a lead singer in a band to writing a book, can you kind of give us that story?
Well, I was always a sports guy first, actually. I got into sports big time as a kid in the 70s. And, I just, I just went through books big time on a number of subjects. But sports is, so much fun. And the 70s were really a remarkable time in sports. I mean, any of them. And I played sports into high school. And, you get to a point in your teens where you realize, you sort of see toward the end of the road a little bit. And you're like, well, am I going to be playing sports in college or something? And for me, that really wasn't going to be the case. But I had always had an interest in music, um, starting with the Beatles and then entering into um, some of the groups that I've mentioned. And a lot of my friends were big rock music fans. We had a great scene in the Cleveland area. And so it was just a very easy thing to become involved in. There were so many great singers in rock music back in the 1970s. And so it was a very easy thing to become interested in. And I actually, had a chance to check out some groups in my teens, and I got hooked.
Well, I want to talk about the Cincinnati Royals. I know my first introduction to them was following Oscar Robertson's career, but I know they had such a great history. Um, I don't know. Today I was looking at all these just fantastic players, from guys like Maurice Stokes, Jack Twyman, of course, one of the greatest stories ever in basketball.
Hmm.
Jerry Lucas, Bob Boozer. There's just so many fantastic basketball players that I just love so much that played for the Royals.
Oh yeah, there's undoubtedly a great history, and it even preceded them a little bit when the Royals first located into Cincinnati in 1957. They had a reputation as a winning franchise, as a team that had already won multiple championships. So there was an expectancy right away for the team to be successful. And if it weren't for the Stokes accident, I think they would have been. And people got to remember that Robertson and Lucas were both territorial draft picks, which was a thing that they did back then to promote the locality of each of the teams. And here you had two guys. One was a high school phenom from Middletown, and then you had another guy who took the University of Cincinnati into the Final Four a couple of times, and they were phenomenal talents, and the team had a right to both of them. Uh, they were very close to being a real force in the early 60s. If they'd have had Stokes and uh, without them, falling apart as they did after he was hospitalized, you might have had a team that probably would have won multiple NBA championships.
Right. How much do you hang maybe them leaving on Bob Cousy? I mean, kind of like the decline as far as being in Cincinnati as the Cincinnati Royals. How much of that do you put on Cousy, the decline of that franchise?
Well, Cousy was a real visible face in the problem, but the truth of the matter is he was brought in by other people, and the Royals, as much as they had player talent, were a team that just weren't managed very well. And I don't know if you can imagine in 1969, they had passed the team on from an owner to his son who knew absolutely nothing about basketball. I'm not just talking about the league, I'm talking about the game. He was a theater thespian, and he was like an eccentric rich guy, Max Jacobs. And so he had absolutely nothing really to do with the team. He's so there was a lawyer for the family who sort of acted as a management spokesman, and then you had a general manager that people should know about, Joe Axelson, who is actually a big name in NBA history. But when he joined the Royals, he had absolutely no previous experience in being a general manager of an NBA franchise. Was a big step up for him. And so it was these guys that brought Cousy into the organization. And so it was already a very flawed situation. And there was a lot of negative feelings about Oscar Robertson in the air at that time. And it was a pretty unique situation, just to say the least. But I wouldn't put it all on Cousy. There were a lot of bad personnel decisions. He had certainly some to do with some of that. I mean, trading Robertson was a big deal. But it wasn't all him. I mean, there was management above him that really drove the team's situation.
Right. It's shocking to me that in a 2-year span, they trade Lucas and Robertson. It's just, looking back and seeing that, it's just absolutely crazy. I can't believe it.
Cousy was not a Lucas fan. He was a fast break guy, and he wanted faster, quicker forwards. And Lucas at that point in his career was not that kind of guy. He was still trying to be a power forward, and he was slowing down, and the two just simply weren't a match. And Cousy had a great deal of power when he first showed up in Cincinnati. I mean, he had quite a shadow over the team. So I think it was actually part of his wanting to flex that power a little bit to show people, he was going to get rid of a major piece and show people that there was a new sheriff on that team. And he did that.
Well, I mean, I knew they had some success I seen where in 1966 that they actually hosted the All-Star game at the Cincinnati Gardens where they played. So, I mean, you got to have success to draw that kind of a crowd.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, they were probably the second or third best team in the NBA at that point. They were second best in 1964. If it weren't for some injuries, they probably would have been right there again in 1965. So it was, Boston with Bill Russell, Philadelphia with Wilt Chamberlain, and then Cincinnati with Oscar Robertson, and that's even ahead of the Lakers with Jerry West.
It's just amazing to me as far as like NBA, lore goes, that guys like Maurice Stokes and Jack Twyman get forgotten. I mean, Maurice Stokes, the team nearly folded because of his injury. I mean, he was so important. He was such an important player, and what happened to him and him and Twyman, I just think is one of the best stories in league history. And it just seems, as far as our generation goes, it's a tale no one knows. It's really sad, really.
I completely agree. A lot of people don't realize what kind of a talent Stokes was. He may have been the best player in the NBA when he went down. That's how good he was. He was an amazing all-around player. Just a quick aside about Stokes. He did something twice that only one other player in NBA history has ever done once, and that was finish in the top 3 in rebounds and the top 3 in assists in the same season. He was a very unique player. He was a very good passer on a team that didn't have the kind of shooters that the Boston Celtics had. That was when Bob Cousy was leading the league in assists, but he had a lot of guys who could shoot the ball on that team. And here's Maurice Stokes. He's like 1 or 2 assists a game behind him, passing the ball to Twyman and maybe one other guy. And he was a remarkable player. And as a rebounder, the only guy he looked up to for a while was Bill Russell. So a remarkable player there. And as far as Twyman, I just wanted to say I had a chance to talk to him for the book. He was the one Cincinnati Royal I actually had an opportunity to interview. And this was before he passed away in 2012. And boy, talking to him for an hour was just one of the biggest thrills I ever had. And I learned a lot about him and got his take on a number of things about the league, and just a fantastic guy. The kind of guy everybody should meet at least once in their life. Highly intelligent, really morally strong guy, and a leader. And he carried the Royals through a couple of very difficult seasons. After Stokes went down, they had seasons where the average ticket cost for a Royals game was about $2 a piece. And they had games where they failed to put 1,000 fans in Cincinnati Gardens to see that team. That's how bad they were. They were a 19-win NBA team, and even the league wasn't very big at that time. So it was even worse for them at that time. And he carried them until Oscar Robertson showed up. So really a remarkable guy.
Yeah, those few seasons that Stokes played, I mean, he was like I think his first career, it's like 16.17 rebounds, something like that. It's just such a remarkable athlete for that era. I think Twyman also he averaged over 30 points. I know.
Yes,
for a
he
season.
did. They gave him the number 31 one year because that's how many points per game he averaged as the single star of this 19-win team. It was up to him to score as often as he could. And the thing about Twyman, too, is he had the best jump shot in the league for years. And if they'd have had a three-point line, you're talking about a guy who probably would have averaged about 35 points a game. That's how good a shot he was.
It's just awesome, and I'm just glad that there are people out there that real basketball fans can talk to about the history of the game and the truly great players that the league had to offer. It's just amazing. So thanks for writing the book. Really, I mean, it's awesome.
So it was a thrill for me. I made about every mistake a guy could probably make doing it. I mean, it was very much a learn on the fly kind of process. I had a chance to contact a couple of people, and I ended up speaking to a writer who I owe a great deal to, a guy named Scott Sargent, who writes classic hockey books. He specializes in books about the old World Hockey Association of the 70s, if you guys remember that at all. And so I was able to pick his brain, and he really helped me through this process. It was kind of daunting for a guy like me. I had never written a book before, but I got a lot of encouragement from a number of corners and got a lot of help from him. So it was very rewarding for me.
Did you ever happen to get a chance to see them play, the Cincinnati Royals?
Yeah, I actually caught them toward the end. They were actually on TV in Cleveland a couple of times. And this was like 1968, 1969. So that's when I first heard of them. And then I got to watch Nate Archibald play. One of you guys mentioned him earlier. A lot of people today don't really realize what a special player he was. If you can imagine a guy on the court who's 5'11", which is how tall he was, and he probably didn't go 170 pounds until after dinner. And this guy was the single scariest player on the floor. He was the smallest guy, and it was like a small Michael Jordan where they would try to shade two guys to the side of the free throw line to stop a penetration because he was always going to beat the first guy. He could go left on anybody. And he was just an incredible scorer. You got to look up his first year with the Kansas City Omaha Kings and what he did that year. He averaged 47 minutes a game of play, and he was like a 34-point, 12-assist guy. I mean, just an incredible player.
Yeah, right here it was the 72-73 season. 46 minutes a night, 34 points, 11 assists. Just watching footage of him, how he split defenders, and you
Hmm.
couldn't stop the guy.
Yeah, he
This
was
is
devastating. He was like Allen Iverson in some ways, except that he was also a remarkable passer. And he made his free throws too. He was, I mean, I don't know what you could ask him to do that he didn't do, but Bob Cousy really rode him for a couple of years. I mean, that guy was his horse.
yeah, just players of yesteryear, I guess you could say. But yeah, Nate Tiny Archibald, just a fantastic example of a point guard. I mean,
Hmm.
if you want to go back to anybody who's a loves playing basketball and is a point guard, go watch footage of Tiny Archibald, man.
Hmm. Yeah, very exciting player too. I mean, from an entertainment standpoint, this guy was a blur with the ball. I mean, he was worth the price of admission.
Well, Dave, I feel like I'm hogging the guest, man.
No, no, no. I First of all, Jerry, thanks for coming on because I can tell Brandon's enjoying the hell out of this.
I'm sorry.
So don't worry about that, Brandon. Uh, keep it going. Talk all night. I don't care. Because this is great stuff. I mean, it's awesome. My only real question is, what drew you to draw or to write this book?
Well, honestly, it was just being a fan. I mean, I I remembered the Royals, and when I was a kid, they went away like a rock in a pond, and it was a very curious thing for a young person who didn't really understand, that teams suddenly go away, And I had watched them, and I was certainly aware of Oscar Robertson, and my favorite player was Jerry Lucas, who was also from Ohio. So I would find bits and things and read about them over the years, and then in 2005, 2006 or so, I was just another guy on the internet looking for a book. I thought maybe somebody had written a book about these guys, and and I would get it, I would buy it. But I found out that nobody, absolutely nobody, had ever written a book about those 15 Cincinnati Royals teams, which was really kind of breathtaking to me because there are so many great stories. So, I studied journalism when I was in college, and I have a little bit of a ability to write. I mean, I'm not confusing myself with some of the great writers out there at all. I'm just a fan. So I had some friends of mine who kind of goaded me into the project a little bit, and it was a tall hill for me to climb, believe me, but great experience for me.
How long did the whole process take?
It took several years. And in fact, I started it for a while, and I was so flustered with it after about 3 years that I actually stopped working on it for a number of months, at least 6 months. And I thought, well, man, this might be too big for me. But I just it kind of kept talking to me a little bit, and I just kind of kept coming back to it. And I finally, in 2016, I just got into a good closing stretch with it. And overall, I'd say it took about a good 6-7 years.
Well, I got a quick question for you. As far as getting it published, I mean, you always hear guests come on talk about their books. How hard was it to get published?
Well, it's actually was remarkably easy, and that's part of the process that encouraged me. Is that there's a self-publishing process on Amazon. It's tailor-made for guys like me. And so it was just a matter of putting my computer files together and being able to upload them and being able to pick out formats and things. And I think that these kinds of programs and these kinds of websites now are promoting a birth of books. There's a lot of good stuff coming out now. My book is just, one of those books.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, 'cause like I said, you never hear the struggles of how to get it, published and everything.
Hmm. Well, yeah, in an earlier age, I mean, I would have been up against publishers and contracting and facing the potential of being ripped off, and that's probably stopped a lot of earlier writers, in the 80s or something from doing a book like this. But now it's actually quite a bit easier for a lot of people, myself included.
That, well, like I said, we lost Brandon, but Jerry, I just want to thank you for coming on. It's great info. I would definitely, in the future, love to have to come back on.
Oh, my pleasure, man.
But so everybody, if you get a chance, get a copy of the Cincinnati Basketball's Royalty. Looks like it's a pretty good read. I mean, everything I've seen is good reviews. So, again, thanks, Jerry.
You're welcome. The book is available on Amazon.com, and thanks again for having me.
Hey, not a problem, Jerry. Thank you. Hey, Brandon, you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Hey, he just got off, so I thanked him, and we're definitely gonna have to have him come back on.
No, he was a great guest. I was actually really excited to have him on. Just the history of basketball, and yeah, just from him liking the page for a while and everything. I absolutely 100% knew that he knew the game of basketball and the history of basketball. And it's really nice because when you're dealing with people online, a lot of the time they fucking don't know what they're talking about.
No, I agree.
And they don't have a love of the game and a love of the history of the game. All they know of the game is what they've seen with their eyes. They've never picked up a book to read about players, and it goes to show. And then you have a guy on like Mr. Schultz who totally kicks ass and 100% knows his shit. So it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm totally cool. We're gonna have to have him back on like soon.
I think he needs to write another book.
Yeah, well, Jerry, get on it.
The exile of LeBron.
Yes, real quick, we just got him a book sale. Brad Bell's saying he's buying the book.
Awesome. I'm gonna get it.
Yeah, definitely.
I actually feel bad that I don't have it already.
Yeah, it's on my Amazon wish list.
So yeah, I'm definitely getting it. I have so many freaking basketball books that I have doubles of some of them. Like, I know I got doubles like George Mikan, just you name it. Like everybody, I probably have too many, but I got to get this one.
Without a doubt. So, before we got on, you mentioned you've been watching a lot of the Summer League.
I have been, actually.
What's your thoughts on it?
I'm actually, I know this is really bad. It's such a fucking Laker answer, but I've been watching it because I'm just so excited for the season to start. We've been bad for the last several years, and I was just watching the young guys play. I know they play. It's the Lakers and Portland in the final tonight at 10 o'clock. So I'll definitely be watching.
Yeah, I watched some of it. I seen LeBron's been there.
Yeah, there's been some guys peeping in and out. Magic's there and fucking Lonzo.
But I mean, you kind of want to go see who you're going to possibly be playing with, right?
Of course, like I know Mo Wagner hasn't played a whole lot. I know this Hart kid. He's looked great the last few games. He's definitely a steal, I think. But no, it's one of those things, man. I love basketball and I'm excited again about it. And I find myself watching the Summer League. That's how how much I'm ready for it, and I got a ways to go. October probably at least till the NBA kicks off.
Yeah, we're quite a ways away for that.
But no, I think honestly, I mean, just if I'm being honest, basketball was my first love before anything, before cartoons or anything as a kid growing up, fucking Ghostbusters or Goonies or whatever. Basketball was always my first love. It probably helps growing up in Indiana, where it's back in the '80s. It was almost like a religion, but no, I love it.
That that's why I loved having Jerry on, because you two were just talking and it was totally fine. I was just listening to y'all. You're doing.
I started to feel bad.
What's that?
I started to feel bad.
No, no, it was great stuff. I mean, if it wasn't great, then you could feel bad, but it was great stuff.
No, he knows his stuff, and like I said, us being from Indiana, basketball was. There was a point in time, I can't speak so frankly now about it, but there was a time where basketball was king. There was nothing better than basketball. With the Bob Knight and Gene Keady and the success of the Pacers and the ABA in the '70s, and I don't know, just from high school, it was like how people view like Texas football at high schools and stuff, starting so young. I feel like that's how it was. Friday nights in a gym in Indiana was amazing. So
In the short shorts.
the shortest of shorts, the shorter the better.
Well, I you don't even know this yet, but we we had an awesome guest tonight. Next weekend we're gonna have a pretty good awesome guest too. Uh Wesley Fricks from the Ty Cobb Museum. He's gonna be on our show.
Dude, that's so awesome. It's like Ty Cobb season's coming up. Like, you know what I mean? Like on this day in sports, as far as all that goes, I know just now the last few strings of days and even coming up soon. But I've been tagging, I try to tag like anybody who's opened a museum or raising money for a statue. I mean, if you click on those, you know, the black letters in any on this day in sports, it's going to send you to somebody's page. And I try to get some people to other pages and tag this guy, just to tag the Ty Cobb Museum just a couple times now, and got a response, which is I'm extremely excited.
Yes, they are next weekend. They're doing he I didn't get to write it all down, but they're doing so much next weekend, and he wants to come on and talk about it. And I said, all right. I mean, they're going to have Major League MLB players there. They're going to have writers there. They're doing a statue or a plaque ceremony. They're doing a celebrity baseball, softball game. I mean, it was just all kinds of stuff they were doing. And he wants to come on and talk about it.
To my understanding, I don't want to speak wrong, but I feel like it's a 20th anniversary of this museum.
That is it.
And I was just, when I seen that in Messenger today, I was like, oh, holy shit, this is great.
Yeah, you messaged me and I looked and I was like, well, all right. Yeah, it is their 20th anniversary celebration.
I'm super excited.
Yes, so everybody mark your calendars.
I know just as much as the casual fan does about Ty Cobb, so I'll have plenty of questions for sure.
It'll be like tonight.
I don't know my baseball history as good, but like I said, I know I can carry on a conversation about Ty Cobb, but I'm ready to hear some stories. I know he's had quite a checkered, at least off the field, quite a checkered life, and I think he evolved as a person as he got older. From everything I've read about him, he at the end of his life, he was a changed man and was a better man than he was when he started, which is always always great, I think, when a person can evolve and be a better person. So,
Without a doubt.
but yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So
No.
he's a go.
Yeah, he said he's going to be on. He told me on the phone.
Nice.
He's booked.
This is great. That's great news.
Yeah, so I had to tell you. I mean, if you weren't pushing the last minute, I'd have told you, but before we went on, but
I was like, you know what, tonight? Well, because you seen what happened.
what?
We'll just tell everybody, we usually get on here probably at least 15 minutes before showtime.
Correct.
And tonight was more like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And in those 5 minutes, me and Jerry Schultz talked about way too much stuff that we should have talked about on the show. That's why.
That is correct, everyone.
So when we have guests, I'm a little more hesitant because I fucking blow my load before the fucking show starts.
But I got a load for you. Ready?
Oh, God.
It's time for our segment. So are you ready? Are you,
yeah, that's what the music
now it's time for Love It or Hate It.
All right. You ready for this?
Y'all ready for this?
Okay. Love it or hate it. The Warriors extend Steve Kerr's contract.
I like it. Love it. Love it.
Yeah, it's got to make
Absolutely love
sense.
Why wouldn't you? Why not? I mean, they found the guy. Whatever's working's working. Keep it going. Right? That's
Okay.
what I say.
Now, as a Laker fan, do you love it or hate it?
I'm not a blowing out of proportion. We're going to the finals fan. You know what I mean? My feet are always planted solidly on the ground. I don't think we're anywhere near the team that Golden State is, but no, I don't wish any harm or ill will towards them. They're great, and they're still a far better team than LA. So no, I think it's great.
All right. Kawhi Leonard going to the Raptors. There's reports coming out today.
That would be big. That would be big. That would. I mean, I know Boston was nicked up and injured, but that would make. You'd almost have to put Toronto as your favorite. I think they'd edge the Celtics just a little bit. But no, I hate it. Come to LA, dude. What the fuck?
Well, I don't think he really has a choice, does he?
Well, I mean, they're going to have to give up. The Spurs want so much for him, and there's probably not a lot of teams that can accommodate that. So, I mean, if they can work something out, more power to them. But, man, Toronto's probably – whoever gets him is probably Kawhi Leonard, awesome fucking player. But whoever gets him is probably going to give just a little too much for him.
All right. Le'Veon Bell not coming to a contract agreement with the Steelers.
I hate it. For both I put both parties at fault. You got to get something worked out here. You got to get something worked out, which I'm a Raiders fan, so who gives a shit about the Steelers? But no, honestly, he's one of the best backs in the league, if not the best back. Get something done. He's already saying, you know, if they don't get something out, that he's gone next year. So sign him, and Oakland, sign Khalil Mack. Sign these guys. Just start signing people. Give them money. That's what they're there for. You know you're going to pay them. You can't do no better than what Le'Veon Bell. Roethlisberger's got a few seasons left. So, I mean, you're going to need him.
Hey, let me ask you this. Do the Raiders get Mac this year? I mean, are they going to come to an agreement?
I'm telling you, man, we talked about it even how many months ago. 6 months ago.
Yeah.
It was like, they got to sign this guy. They got to sign this guy. They have to. And they're already talking like they're building up other guys. They're talking about, oh, Bruce Irvin's going to get this many sacks this year. And they're going to do, dude, Mac is the guy. Okay. He's the best player on the team, if you want my personal opinion. He's healthy. He's out there every game. Raider Romo, Derek Carr, he's not. Give him money. Give him what he wants, please.
Okay, on to the next. Terrell Owens looking to go to the Canadian Football League.
Eh?
Yeah.
I don't know there. It might be a bad move there for a paycheck. I don't think he would be doing it for the paycheck, right? He would just be doing it for the love of the game. I love it, I guess. I don't know. It keeps him from doing sit-ups on his front lawn with reporters, I guess.
Last I knew, though, he was like flat broke. So he has like 10 kids.
That's it? 10 kids?
I think.
If I was Terrell Owens, I'd have an entire football team full of kids.
Yeah, you could buy your own team and play him.
I didn't know he was Sean Kemp. He was Sean Kemp in it.
So, okay. Now it's on to our last one. Usually a tough one.
Oh, boy.
Rob Schneider never winning an Oscar.
Oh, my God. Oh. Rob Schneider. Everyone loves Rob Schneider. Okay? Yes. Rob Schneider. No, dude. I'm cool with it. He is shit. When he was on SNL, he was awesome. Fucking microscopic Elvis, tiny Elvis. No, he had awesome. The fucking making copies guy. SNL, 4 or 5 minute bits, 3-minute bits. Love him. Awesome. 90-minute movies. Don't want to watch. What was the one he did where he fucking switched bodies with the girl because of the earring?
Oh, God. Give me a minute.
I'm
looking.
Oh, my God. It's Zapped, or is fucking, it's not Zapped, but that one, like, the girl switch.
The hot chick.
The hot chick. And then he had one, the animal, and he had fucking everything was.
The bench warmers.
But he's funny, and his stand-up, he's very underrated as a stand-up comedian, but Jesus, dude.
I mean, look, he's in Muppets in Space. Martians Go Home. The Beverly Hillbillies 1993 movie. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. He was
Rob Schneider.
He was in Grandma's Boy.
Judge Dredd, Demolition Man.
Was he in Judge Dredd? Yes.
Yeah.
Little Nicky. Home Alone 2.
Yeah, I don't remember. He was a bellhop, I think, in Home Alone 2. I don't quote me on that. He was good in The Waterboy, man. You can do it.
But the thing is, it's like everything now Adam Sandler does, he like throws that in.
He's got to, man.
Yeah, he's got to make his movies funny.
He's got his own show. I watched. I'll be honest with you. I didn't even get through a whole episode. It's called The Real Rob.
Okay.
And it is on Netflix. And it's not good. I mean, unless you really, really, really love Rob Schneider and you want to see him on the screen, then that it's perfect for you then.
So give us a quick review of this show.
It's about his real life. It's supposed to be almost picture like a Curb Your Enthusiasm, or it's supposed to be based on his like real life goings on every day of his life. And it's just so, it just isn't very natural feeling at all. It's just not good. It's the Schneid, dude. Schneider.
So
Rob Schneider.
you're not happy, or are you? Are you loving it or hating it that he don't have an Oscar?
I love it, I guess. Yes, I love it. Jesus Christ.
Hey,
Surf ninjas, surf ninjas.
is what?
Yeah, have you ever seen Surf Ninjas?
No, maybe.
It's infuriating. Just the poster of it alone pisses me off.
I'm going to it.
Leslie Nielsen, Tone Loc. I mean that right there is enough just to fucking no.
Oh God,
Look at it.
I am.
Look
Surf's,
at it. Go ahead.
no, surf's up. Time to save the world.
Right. Let's see how much. It just says it didn't say how much it cost to make, but it did make almost $5 million at the box office.
Wow.
I feel like there were sequels, but
Well, I'll go to the Wikipedia page.
I don't know if there were. I feel like there was some kind of movie that involved ninjas that they made a ton of in the 90s.
The
Three Ninjas?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking of. Three Ninjas.
So
did you like that? That would probably be your generation, Three Ninjas.
I was not a ninja fan. I like the Beverly Hills Ninja.
You know what's crazy about that movie is, look, anything that Farley was in, I don't care if it's like small parts and like dirty work or whatever he did, but Chris Farley hated Beverly Hills Ninja. And I don't care, man. It's 90 minutes of Farley.
Exactly.
It gets no better. So I mean, I'll take it.
That was like his last movie, wasn't it?
His last movie was the one he did with, don't quote me on this, the dude from Friends, Almost Heroes. But it's showing, okay, here's his Wikipedia page. It's showing in 1998, Almost Heroes and Dirty Work were both released after his death. Have you seen Almost Heroes with Matthew Perry?
Yes.
They're explorers.
Yes.
He has to go get that egg, that like eagle egg. It's great. I love it.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong person. But didn't John Candy die? Like his last movie was where he was like in an adventure or whatever, like heading west.
Yes, it was almost identical in feeling. Even the cover art, it was almost identical to Almost Heroes. Oh my God. It was with the guy. I hated the guy, the comic that he was in the Wagons East.
I'm looking up now.
Wagons East. What was that guy's name? Richard Lewis. The comedian Richard Lewis. I fucking hate that guy. But no, it's almost like the same kind of movie, really.
Yeah. It made, when you said Almost Heroes, I was like, man, John Candy.
Yeah, you could totally swap the names of those movies. It wouldn't matter. You could just call the Farley thing Wagons East. It would be fine. But no, that Almost Heroes movie is actually really underrated. I think it's hilarious. John Candy was the shit, though.
But yeah, by far. Hey, I mean, is it really? I mean, it's 92% like on Google users. I mean,
On what, Beverly Hills Ninja?
no, Almost Heroes.
Yeah, it's I didn't enjoy it, but you know, to each his own.
No, okay, I must have got the titles mixed up. But no, I love Beverly Hills Ninja. I mean, every time it's on, I watch it.
When I think of Candy, John Candy, when it comes to me, for my money, everybody loves like Uncle Buck and stuff like that, but I'm going like the 80s, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, probably one of my favorite movies ever. Like The Great Outdoors, watch it every time it's on. Summer Rental, those are my John Candy. Like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, like the mecca of comedy for me. John Hughes, just Steve Martin, everything came together. But no, Candy was awesome, man.
When did he pass? 94.
That's crazy.
For some reason, I thought it was way later. I mean, I thought it was like 90.
Do you remember his cartoon,
No.
Camp Candy? I'm old, so I'm old, but no, it only ran for a few seasons, but shit, I watched it growing up. I was like probably 7 or 8 when it came out.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
He like voiced he voiced the John Candy character, and I don't know, just even then, even at a young age, if you're good, you're gonna, even as a young kid, you're gonna know. John Candy was one of those guys. Bill Murray, Steve Martin, back in the day, I thought was hilarious. Martin Short. As soon as I see Martin Short, I laugh. He's awesome.
Yeah, what happened to Martin Short?
Him and Steve Martin are actually touring. They do like this kind of 2-man show. They just were in Grand Rapids just a couple weeks ago, but I think their specials on Netflix, and it's really cool. It's just like a 2-man goof comedy. They do bits and skits and songs, and Steve Martin plays the banjo, and it's kind of a showcase of their talents, but it's just hilarious. It's called like The Night You'll Forget the Rest of Your Life, or it's something funny like that. It's like An Evening You'll Forget for the Rest of Your Life, or it's really awesome.
Could you imagine being like a fly in the car with Martin Short? You know what I mean? Just going down the road. I mean, they gotta have fun, right?
I would think so. It's almost like a breed of comedian that is dying out. And
Yes.
like Steve Martin, even to me, like his choices the last, you could probably say 15 years, some of his movies haven't been the greatest to me. The family comedy, like Cheaper by the Dozen, and whatever those were, or whatever he did, like shit like that. So it was nice to see him get back together and be funny again.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like you said, that breed's almost gone. Now it's just kind of. What? Let me ask you this: give me top 5 comedians right now.
Whew. My favorites. Oh shit! I love Chris D'Elia. I think he's hilarious. My second would probably be Mark Maron. Oh, who's amazingly awesome. Oh shit! 3. Bill Burr. Bill Burr is awesome. He doesn't give a shit about anybody's feelings. He's what a comic should be. I always liked probably Sarah Silverman, and then I always got to go to one of my favorite, probably Dave Attell, who still does it. Dave Attell's amazing.
Man,
Not Chappelle, Attell.
Yeah. I miss his Up All Night specials.
Dude, fucking Dirty Jobs owes him, because he practically Up All Night, the fucking Insomniac.
Yeah.
He like went around at night, going to bars, going to places to eat, finding people with really shitty jobs working at night. That was a great show, man.
Yeah, by far. I mean, I remember coming over and watching that with you. It was great stuff.
I mean, I still love comedy, so I mean, like for our honeymoon when we went to California and stuff, we went to the Comedy Store and we saw Chris D'Elia, and just like Joe Rogan and like tons of guys. And no, I still love it. It's still they're out there. It's just not a form where you're going to get super famous anymore. So yeah, Brian Callen's also one of my favorites. He's great.
Let me ask you this: why do you think that?
Oh man, this is about, I don't know, man. This is going to be bad. I just think as a whole, as a society, the entertainment, the people that go spend their money and the mass majority population that do have terrible taste. So I think all the comedians that are popular suck. All the popular music sucks. You know what I mean? Like all the highest grossing movie is not the best movie. You know, it's like, I don't know.
So, okay, let me ask you this. This should have been a love it or hate it. Do you love or hate that, Dwayne Johnson, I know it's kind of off the subject, but it's not, is in pretty much every damn movie now?
Oh man, this is like, I don't know if it's just because I'm biased or what, but to me personally, The Rock is the biggest star on the planet. To me, he is.
Sure.
Because there's been times in my life where I've seen Julia Roberts make a movie every 15 minutes. Now, who would I rather see, Julia Roberts or The Rock? Obviously, The Rock. But there's always phases of that. There for a while, I thought Will Smith was in every fucking thing. It's like who's ever is hot. Tom Cruise was in everything, and right now it's The Rock's time, baby. I mean, it's time.
Yeah, I mean, I see something where he's in called Skyscraper.
Yeah, we actually went and seen that.
Is it good?
It is like Die Hard meets the Towering Inferno. That's what I kept thinking about. He's John McClane, and it's a building on fire. We actually, the only way I was going to go see it, I would not just go see that movie. So I was like, the only way I'm going to go see this is if we go to the D box. So that was awesome.
It just seems like he's milking it. He's making the money, but it just seems like he's in everything. I'm fine with it. I like The Rock.
Yeah, he's awesome. If anybody goes to see a D box movie, I highly recommend it. It's so much fun.
Okay, what's a D box?
That is where your seat moves and vibrates and shifts and jolts and all kinds of shit to the stuff on the screen.
Really?
Yeah, that was the only way. I'm like, I'm not going to go. I would not want to go. I'm not saying Skyscraper's a bad movie. To me, it's not my cup of tea. But there was no tits. Nobody got slaughtered. It's like, what's going on? But no, it was fine. But that effect, like when they're on a boat, your seat's rocking back and forth and they're shooting, you're shaking, and the camera tilts forward, or they're getting ready to skydive off a building, your seat tilts forward. It rocks.
I'm seriously gonna look this up. I don't even know if there's one in Indiana.
We had to go to Grand Rapids, about 15 miles down the road, and it was just like 3 or 4 rows of these kind of seats in the very middle of the theater. Like they haven't got to the point where it's an entire theater. But man, I'm telling you, if you go see, like, there's like certain movies where I'm not going to go see them unless we do like IMAX or something. Like I'm not going to go do Skyscraper unless my seat's like throwing me around,
So, okay, I got questions now. So how hard are they to get tickets? I mean, if there's only like 3 rows.
We went on a Saturday at like 2 in the afternoon, and it was all 5 of us, and then I think like 7 or 8 other people.
Really?
I don't know if it's just a new thing, but like there's a movie coming out with fucking Jason Statham who I don't like, called the Meg, about the giant shark.
Yes.
Have you seen this?
Yeah, I have.
And I was like, the only way I'm going to go see that is in like IMAX. You know, it's got to be something rad.
I'm just gonna say that shark's big though. Like it's so big, it's not even scary.
That's the part I don't get. Everybody's like, "Oh, I cannot wait for this movie," and I'm like, "Look at the size of the shark, though."
Yeah, like I get it. You know, they're big sharks, whatever. But hear me out. That thing goes to eat me. I'm not gonna feel a thing. He's gonna swallow me whole.
Swallow your whole. That's the thing. That's what makes something scary, is knowing that you have a chance fighting, but you're probably going to lose. This thing would just swallow your entire boat. So I mean, how? It's like Godzilla. That's not scary to me.
No, not at all.
I would be more scared of like a velociraptor dinosaur, you know, not a gigantic thing, but something that you could be like, maybe you have a small percentage of surviving, but probably not. It's what made Jaws scary. Yes, the shark was big, but it wasn't. You had a fighting chance if you had the nuts, you know what I mean? But this is like, you're at the mercy of it. It just doesn't make sense.
Now, to be fair, a velociraptor would. It'd kill me. I can't run that fast or that far.
Those two little kids survived it in the first Jurassic Park.
Yeah, but they're not overweight and they're not a smoker. So I mean,
yeah, but they hid in the kitchen, and that's probably where I'd be.
you know
what I'm saying though. Like,
no,
Godzilla, you're at the mercy of Godzilla. I mean, what are you gonna do? You have. If he's gonna kill you, he's gonna kill you. But with like, Bigfoot, maybe you got like a chance.
I don't know. I've seen those commercials.
But, dude, this has been a good show, man.
Oh, I'm loving it. Real quick though, I do have a chance of winning against the sloth.
The one from Goonies or the animal?
Both.
So, okay, that was a bad example. It would be like the difference between Godzilla and like a Komodo dragon.
Okay.
How's that?
Yeah, I'll take that.
Because those things are scary.
What, the Komodo dragons?
Yes, they're fast.
Okay.
They're like super venomous.
Okay.
And that's scary.
I mean, yeah, sure. But, I mean, they're quick. I don't like things that I can put in my hand and kill me.
That's what I'm saying. I fear them more than I would like a Godzilla style creature.
Well, with Godzilla, you're screwed.
Right. There's no chance. I think it makes it more fearful when you would have to reach down to try to survive against this thing. When it's like a giant thing, you're just like, it showed like the Meg swimming in the water. It would just open its mouth and eat like 200 beachgoers. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean that, like with Jaws. I'm gonna compare them. You know, Jaws. See the videos where people's hanging half out, they're screaming, yelling, tearing them apart. This Meg is just gonna eat me whole. I'm good. I'm gonna just be shit out whole. I'm good.
Yeah, I never even thought about. Oh, dude, that might be spoiler alert city. Is that how they're gonna kill the Meg? Somebody's just gonna go in there.
Oh shit! Did we just ruin it?
Well, probably not. It'll be on Sci-Fi in like 2 months after it's out. That's what you do. Which would also be a ripoff of Jaws 3.
Let me ask you this. How do you see them killing the Meg?
Statham is going to give it a classic line, and then he's going to like shoot a missile at it or something. He's going to be like, fucking chomp on this, or fucking, he's gonna tough talk it, hopefully, before he dies.
Does the rocket? Okay, so we're gonna go with the rocket theory.
Yeah.
Does the rocket have Meg on its side? Boom! Like, hey, taste this.
Yeah, yeah, they're gonna name it.
They could.
Jesus, I don't get it. I don't get it. Everybody's excited for it.
It it'll make money. I mean, because
Oh
like you
God,
said, there's people that want to see it.
it's gonna make money, definitely.
I don't know. I don't know.
It's just like, but like I said, the only way I would go see something like that is if it was like a big deal. We'd have to go to an IMAX or something really, really cool.
Let me ask you this: we're talking about like different theaters and stuff. Have you seen? I've seen them on Facebook, all that stuff. But where people watch Jaws in like the water, would you do that?
Well, I mean, I guess, yeah, that would be awesome. For some reason, the only time we ever came close to going, it was like it sold out in less than an hour, and tickets were like 150 bucks.
For what?
The Jaws thing,
Wow.
because I we've looked into all kinds. We're kind of like that, so we've looked into it. Like the Camp Crystal Lake is actually a real camp in New Jersey, but it's still like a functioning camp, and it's like a ritzy high end camp, and it's like I forget what tickets are just to like to go in the camp. It's like $300 or $400,
Wow.
and it's only open like to the public a few weekends out of the year. I mean, they turn it into this grand event where they have people who are in the movies come back, and I guess this last year, like you sleep in the bunks and everything there at the camp, and they had a person dressed as Jason coming through, chasing um, whatever her name was, Adrian Steele, um, or Adrian King. I mean,
I was gonna say you're thinking of Lexington still.
that's right, Lex. Dog fart. Jesus.
You take
Yeah,
it there.
that shit's crazy expensive. We always look at. Hey, we're going to Horror Hound Weekend in Indy.
When's that?
That is at the end of August, like the 26th through the 28th or something crazy. Their guest list is nuts.
Yeah, I seen like there's a shit ton of people.
I'm so glad we got tickets.
Yeah, they're
'Cause
probably sold out, aren't they?
It's showing there's still tickets available, but you're talking Kiefer Sutherland, who I've never seen do a convention, Bruce Campbell, Robert England, Shannon Doherty, Nancy Allen, the five boys from It. It's just, it's gonna be a good show, man. I'm psyched.
See, I would buy tickets and go if there's one person going to be there.
Who's that?
Rob Schneider.
Oh God. Oh God. I'm surprised he. Well, he hasn't done enough horror.
Well, he's made some horrible movies. Yeah, see what I did there?
Actually, our August is going to be nuts. I think the following weekend is me and Gavin go to SmackDown. That's nuts.
SmackDown.
Yeah, we went to Raw. What was it, like a few weeks ago?
Yeah.
And they're going to be back for SmackDown. I think like September 2nd or something like that.
I haven't watched the SmackDown in a long, but I wish I miss the days when SmackDown was like huge. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's definitely not what it used to be, but being there, I think it was very odd. Being there it brought back. It's still when you're there live, it's still what it kind of used to be a little bit. It's pretty cool.
I I haven't been to a wrestling like a WWE event since probably when we went to Columbus.
Well, I'm telling you, if it wasn't for Gavin, I wouldn't be doing it. But I can't. I'm kind of shocked now how much they tour still. I mean, those guys are still on the road a ton. I had no idea because it's like a house show. It's on like a Sunday. So I mean,
I see. Last I knew, that I thought they moved it to Tuesdays live or something.
well, right, but with their schedule now, they do way more shows throughout the week than what I realized.
Gotcha.
Well, I mean, it's a SmackDown show, but it's not a. I don't think it's a televised show.
Okay. Okay.
Like they'll probably do like Superstars or something before it, like a or an, like they call it like 205 Live. Like they'll do a like back in the day they would shoot like Sunday Night Heat before Raw. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
They'll probably shoot a smaller show, but no, it's a house show, so there won't be stuff. Which are usually the best shows, house shows.
Oh, by far. I just, I don't want to say this without sounding whatever, but is the quality still good?
Like I said, I think being there is way different. It's tough for me to get through watching it on TV with him. It's really tough. But being there was awesome. Like the first thing that happened that night was like Ronda Rousey put a girl through a table. And it was like it was like 1998 all over again.
A little Dudley Boy action, maybe.
Yeah, no, it was cool. It was just like there's still like a mystique or something there. When you see it live, there's still something there.
Sure.
Watching it, there's something lost in the translation for sure.
See, I watched it the other day. Like I just flipped it on. It was on USA. It was a Raw episode. It was tough because you know at the very beginning it's supposed to be like huge. You know what I mean? You're supposed to be something big happen. Keep your ass in your seat. You know everything.
Right.
But now I was just like, I don't know.
I honestly believe the biggest problem is they need good heel managers again, or even face managers. I think that's one thing it lacks is there's nobody. Everybody wanted to be Stone Cold or Hulk Hogan or you name it, Shawn Michaels, but nobody ever grew up to want to be Bobby the Brain Heenan or like Lou Albano or you know what I mean, like Paul Ellering. Like a good heel manager could almost made some of these guys.
Do you think that'll ever make a comeback?
I don't know. It's tough. Paulie Dangerously still hanging on, but it's just there's no good valets. There used to be like Sensational Sherry and Miss Elizabeth and all these. Nobody aspires to be that anymore. They just go to the gym, work out, and try to be superstars when we need action outside the ring and storytelling outside the ring to help this because the talent's there. It's just there's no story and there's no dynamic anymore.
Do you think people striving to be just Stone Cold or Shawn Michaels? Do you think that's them or do you think that's like Vince McMahon?
Oh, I think a lot of it could rest on him because I don't think there's any free thinkers. Like even when it comes to just about anything now, any form of entertainment, there's no more free thinkers or renegades or people who think there's nobody around to shake things up anymore. So I mean, I think it's just kind of it's lulled into this really bad track record right now.
So I don't even know what to ask really, but it's more or less is WWE gonna ever be what it was? I mean, or is it gonna go down this path?
No, it'll never be what it was, but I don't think that's because of the talent, because there is talent there. I think the thing that changed everything was Chris Benoit.
Okay, now why? I'm legit curious.
I mean, with that and the head injuries they say he was sustained and all that stuff being a factor, the WWE changed its way. You know, there's like no headshots anymore with steel chairs. If it's a table match or something like of that nature, you might see a guy go through a table the one time to win the match, and it's very protected, very well set up. I just think everything changed. They didn't. If they hadn't have changed, they would have had a black eye forever. But the way they spun everything, they had a great superstar to do that with John Cena to wipe everything squeaky clean again and forget about all that. But I believe that Benoit changed that, and it's never going to go back.
I see why you say that, because it seemed like they went to that squeaky clean stuff around that time.
Yeah, that was when the big changeover. They claim that it was happening months prior with headshots and whatnot with the chairs and stuff and the bleeding and the blading and all that, but it was still pretty hardcore to me. And then once that changed everything. They had to change, or they were going to be right there along with Benoit and all that.
I mean, it makes a lot of sense now. I mean, I never really thought of that, you know, but now that I think, the time frame kind of matches up with everything.
Yeah, usually you hope it's something positive that changes the business of anything. When a new band breaks on the scene, like Nirvana, they change things for the better. You know, they destroy hair metal, and you know they're these grunge gods, and it spawns all this great music. Bands getting from Seattle, Pearl Jam, everybody, Soundgarden, of this whole entire movement. But this just so happened that it shifted it in a negative way, and they had to change everything about it.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks that that's why it had to change.
Right. And I mean, when the changeover, it was not much longer right before the whole, they rebranded completely with the WWE. I mean, I know with the World Wildlife Foundation that had been battling for years, but that's not much of a coincidence once something like that happens and you just kind of give in and say, okay, yeah, we're going to be WWE now.
Yeah, I mean, World Wildlife Fund might have saved them.
Well, I mean, they'd been battling that for decades.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all of a sudden they're just going to kind of go, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
It was a good, that's why Vince is who he is. He's smart.
Hey, Justin Duggar just came on the comment thread.
Oh, sweet.
So, Justin, if you're listening, give us a call real quick.
Absolutely, dude. Please. He could give us some wrestling news, I'm sure.
Yeah, he follows it. I mean, pretty religiously.
Yeah, I think he still does. That's what I right?
Yeah, I mean, when last time he talked to us, he made it sound like that.
So yeah, hopefully he'll call in if he can, if he's not taking nude selfies.
Hey, he got in trouble.
He said, Did you guys check new lineup this fall?
Oh, he sent a voice message.
Perfect.
Brian Trouble. So let me get this set up here. Oh,
sweet.
Hey, Justin, you're on the air.
What's going on, bud?
What's going on?
Not a whole lot.
So, hey, Brandon had a question for you.
What's
Yes,
that?
I did. Hey, man, what did you think about the whole Chris Benoit thing?
I don't know about that, man. That's what I heard. I'm watching SmackDown right now.
You're watching SmackDown now?
Yes, I am.
Oh, it's Tuesday, you know.
So what match is going on?
Hold on. I'm going to tell you something right now. I'm on my headset like a top guy. I'm about to see what's going on right now.
Dallas.
Last night, when I told you what's going on, Greenville last night, what happened. Jeff Harley is going to rematch. Nation action, no girl fight taking. What happens when someone the referee? Now, the women's title championship is coming up this week, later this night. And Nellen, it don't do right, and she's going to lose the title as a women's champion tonight.
Did you get all that, Dave?
Also, here's a question coming in. Monday Night Raw, what night I heard what happened in the championship reverse. Brock Lesnar is going to be no longer the WWE Raw University Champion.
That's because he hasn't been on there, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, Brandon.
Sorry.
So what action is going on right now?
Right now, if I'm watching this right now, it's New Day, Reverse, and Steve Titan is three of them men. They're just trying to get away from what happened last night. We will. Now, here's what happened is on the screen world last night. Ronda Rousey jumped out, beat up with Mickey James, Alexa Blessing, no 2-2 is trying to beat up Nia Jax Nation. Now, Ronda Rousey has one more suspended that's coming up from this live. So may not wrong. I can tell you just about like this coming this moment for you guys. SummerSlam is coming up. Not easy long, be August or something like that.
Jesus.
Ronda Rousey is facing Alison Gillespie. It's a facing and the women's championship title Monday Night Raw.
That was awesome. Wow.
Yeah. I'm impressed.
This is what I talk about James Brown.
Also, you guys not know that this kind of happened in the past where Ronda Rousey had suspended for 30 days. This is almost a 4.5 weeks where Ronda Rousey got trying to internet attention to Alison Gillespie, which is the title champion, where she is facing Alison Gillespie anytime after next Monday Night Raw coming up, and she will be no longer suspended from WWE Monday Night Raw.
Hey, Justin, I got a quick question for you.
What's that?
Are you a single man right now, or are you taken?
Tell me about that.
Well, I'm just asking. I mean, I think Ronda Rousey's single.
Nope, Ronda Rousey got a husband with there. When I just saw on my phone, taking you, and I just saw her husband there with her.
Is it really her husband?
It is for real.
Well, Justin, I appreciate the commentary there.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
So, Justin, you have anything else for us?
Yeah. Now, also, I'm going to tell you guys something right now. When you're talking about Cincinnati from basketball for college basketball coming up.
Yeah.
You might want to. Okay, let me tell you something right now. Double check online because they just got 4 new ones from a high school and went to play Cincinnati basketball. There are all the good teams that will be playing. They get the playoffs this year. But Cincinnati will be safety in the Final Four. Hopefully they can do it.
So Brandon, do you have anything else for Justin?
No, my brain, it's turned to mush.
Yes. Hey, Justin, thanks for calling in, buddy.
Yep. I'll
Thanks,
catch you guys later.
Bond.
And then anytime you got one topic about boy, Monday Night Raw and the SmackDown Live.
Hey, you're going to be our wrestling guy.
Hey, give me a call me in the head top and I'll talk about everything what's going on the TV show. Hey, you're going to be our wrestling guy.
All right, Justin. Well, thank you.
Yeah, good.
All right, see you guys later.
See you, buddy.
All right, goodbye.
I could hear myself talking through his headset.
His TV was so loud.
Oh my God. That's a great note to end on, ain't it?
I think so. Holy hell, my brain.
I heard. Did you get my text?
Yes.
Okay. So, you ready to do some rocking out?
Yes. Let's rook out.
Okay. Well, this is Granicus with the song Equator off the album Thieves, Liars, and Traitors.
Starts all over again.